Phil. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with Sky Jitani.
Hello, Phil.
Dressed in black. And Drew Dick.
Also dressed in black.
Dressed in black. And Phil Vischer. Dressed in black. See, this is what happens when Christian's off the show for more than 1 week in a row.
Not good.
All the chroma gets sucked out of our lives.
There's no color.
This is all in mourning over Leonard Nimoy.
Now, who's Leonard Nimoy?
Dr. Spock.
I'm not familiar with him.
Mr. Spock. Dr. Spock was different, right?
Dr. McCoy.
Can you do
No.
it? Can you do the...
There's a Dr. Spock, too.
Yeah, Dr. Spock. He's the baby doctor.
Right.
Yeah.
This is Mr. Spock. And we have the Leonard Nimoy Dr. Spock
in
mug.
honor
Mr.
of
Spock.
him. All right,
right.
before we talk about Mr. Spock, I'll sing the theme song. As Mr. Spock? No, I don't know.
You have to do it without any emotion.
Yeah. Hey, it's a podcast. What do you know? Hey, it's a podcast, and we got video. Go in peace. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. Hey, it's a podcast. Fascinating Jim. The Phil Vischer podcast starts right here. We'll talk to Sky, and no Christian, too. We've got Drew Dick from another planet. I think he's a Klingon here for you. Are you a Klingon, Drew?
Today I am.
Hey, it's a podcast. Cylinder near. The Phil Vischer podcast starts right here. The Phil Vischer podcast. Live long and prosper.
We can't really say that anymore, though.
Only saying? Why can't we say
tribute.
that?
Because he's dead.
Well, but he wasn't saying it to himself.
But he lived
Yeah,
long
but
and he
people would
prospered.
greet him back that way.
And also with you? Is that what they would say?
Right.
And also with you?
Past the Spock.
Okay, so we've learned something new this week, and that is Vulcans are Jewish.
Okay.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vulcans are Jewish.
Leonard Nimoy was.
And he explained the Vulcan salute, the four fingers
Right.
apart.
Can you do it?
I can't do it.
Really?
And
You
it's a
don't have
source
the
of
gene?
shame.
I'm not even a Trekkie, and I can do it.
Yeah, you have to fake it. Can you use chopsticks?
Yeah, I'd have
Can
to.
you use Vulcan chopsticks?
Oh, how do you do that?
I don't know.
Oh,
You can only have to use your fingers.
oh
like
I see.
this.
Yeah, like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I could do it with a little bit of tape. It's just these
Okay.
two fingers that don't
the
cooperate.
Vulcan salute, Leonard Nimoy has revealed, was actually a hand symbol from Orthodox Judaism. Leonard Nimoy was Jewish. He said, "For what would soon be known as the Vulcan salute, I borrowed a hand symbol from Orthodox Judaism. During the high holiday services, the Kohanim." Now, which level of Jedi were the Kohanim?
I think that's just up from Padawan, but not quite
Padawan
master.
Kohanim.
Right.
Apparently, those are priests in the Orthodox Jewish tradition. Bless those in attendance. As they do, they extend the palms of both hands over the congregation with thumbs outstretched and the middle and ring fingers parted so that each hand forms two V's. We're all trying to do it here if you're watching. We're blessing. We're the Kohanim.
Yeah.
Some of
We're
us
giving
more
you
successfully than
a
others.
Kohanimian blessing. The gesture symbolizes the Hebrew letter Shin, the first letter of the word Shaddai.
I read a
Lord.
different piece that also said it was supposed to be from Shalom, which also begins with Shin.
Shaddai.
Yeah.
Shalom.
I saw the interview. He pointed out that
Shlemazel.
both begin with it. And
Right.
So
Okay. So it was that when I searched my imagination for an appropriate gesture to represent the peace-loving Vulcans, the Kohanim symbol of blessing came to mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
What was the highlight of Leonard Nimoy's career? Was it Star Trek or was it his Hobbit song?
What? What Hobbit song?
The Hobbit music video. The one, Bilbo
No.
Baggins, the Bilbo Baggins song?
No.
Have you ever seen Leonard Nimoy's Bilbo Baggins song?
I have never.
That he did in the 70s when he was trying to distance himself from Star Trek?
No.
Got something to Google this afternoon.
Oh, wow.
I kind of feel bad for him only because sometimes you get such an iconic role, you just never.
Yeah, it's tough
can
to
never
escape the shadow.
escape,
Yeah,
right.
I know. And so his first biography or memoir was called I Am Not Spock. And then like 15, 20 years later, he wrote another one called I Am Spock.
See, he's just gone through the stages of grief, and
Yeah.
he finally came to acceptance.
Well, when you're young and you get, stereotyped with something, you don't like it. It's like, no, I will do so much more than this. I am so much more than Bob the Tomato. Say, if you were the person who made Bob the Tomato, you would say, I am so much more, I now resent that all of you are just saying, hey, you're Bob the Tomato. Hey, you're Spock. See, no, I am so much more than Spock. And then as time goes by, decades pass, and you keep seeing the love for Spock. And you start going to all these Trekkie conventions, and you sign all these autographs, and you say, you know, these are actually nice people. Maybe I need to make peace with Spock.
Or Bob the Tomato.
Or Bob the Tomato.
I think it would be really hard because on some level, this must be true for any famous person or political figure or actor. They don't really love you. They're just loving something, a false you that you've portrayed.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a
but over time
you have to
they
just
get
reconcile
to know
with that.
Like people have a pretty good idea of the real William Shatner now.
But he's branched out pretty successfully.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff besides Captain Kirk.
Okay. George
But those
Takei.
commercials,
George
yeah, those-
Takei.
Yeah.
Did you see the documentary being George Takei?
I thought it's Takai.
I think it's
Takei?
Takei, but I'm not positive. I just watched the documentary, so I should know.
Takai. Yeah, but he's like a big LGBT
Yeah,
advocate
he is.
now.
Yeah, and he is beloved. He is beloved by all.
Okay.
And they know the real him because
He's got that voice, that really.
he's got a really deep voice.
Yeah,
and
but and he's a
like
little
this.
guy, but he looks.
He's a little guy with a very deep voice, Captain. He's a very interesting little guy. Oh my!
Okay.
It's like that's how he talks.
He does, yeah.
Deep and creepy.
He's like a tiny little deep voice Liberace. Oh my!
Are you saying that because he's gay?
No, no.
Oh.
I'm saying that because he plays the piano.
He does.
I don't know.
No.
I hope he does.
With a candelabra?
I really talked myself into a corner.
Okay.
Oh my! Anyway, so George Takei, Takei, you say Takei, tomato, Takei, Spock, spook.
Shatner, I won't say that.
He's dead. George Takei's not dead. He's 80.
Because then he would be George DK.
They're all like 80 right now.
Oh.
Yeah, they're up there.
Yeah. Although Leonard Nimoy, I think, was the oldest.
83?
Yeah.
Was it 83 or 84?
Is that living long and prospering?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is.
The average is
and
what,
it's funny
79,
because
so, yeah.
because William Shatner, okay, George Takei has his wedding, invites William Shatner. William Shatner doesn't come. Not only doesn't come, then says, I didn't even get an invitation. I didn't even get an invitation. But he doesn't come, and George says, well, that's ridiculous. We sent you an invitation. I don't know why you're saying that. Oh, my.
And it was really a big deal, public deal,
Yeah,
because
it
it was
became a big public
it was a
deal.
same-sex wedding, obviously.
Yes, and it was like he
yes.
shunned it. And,
Right.
and so Bill Shatner says, I don't even really know him. We were in a show decades ago, but we were never friends.
Oh, come on.
And now
They did how many movies together?
I know, and now Leonard
And
Nimoy
conventions
dies. Now
and-
Leonard Nimoy
Right.
dies, and William Shatner is saying he was like a brother. So Spock was like a brother to him.
But-
Sulu was like the Japanese guy that steered the ship. I don't even know him.
But I heard that Shatner wasn't going to the funeral.
No.
So maybe he just doesn't do any
Well,
kind
yeah,
of
but-
celebration or funeral or wedding.
Big life events.
He doesn't want to be reminded of his own mortality.
Perhaps.
I could see that.
Yeah, but what now? No, the oldest was McCoy. He was the oldest, and he died
Bones?
like 10 years ago.
Did he?
Yeah.
DeForest? Wasn't his
Yeah,
name
DeForest
DeForest?
Kelly?
I don't get that name.
DeForest. DeForest.
Isn't that what? Isn't that?
That's what Tattoo said when the forest caught on fire on the island, on Fantasy Island. The plane is in the forest.
DeForest? That's when you like strip all the
Yeah,
trees off.
deforestation.
Yeah, deforestation.
Yeah.
Maybe he was hairless.
He should have been a lumberjack.
Okay. Is there anything profound that we should take from the life and/or death of Leonard Nimoy?
I really don't know. I'm not a Trekkie.
You're
I'm sure
really
there are-
not helping me.
I have his cup, and it's empty to symbolize his, except for ice, because he's now,
yeah.
But that's it.
Been put on ice.
Yeah. Do you know the only way he would do the movie, the first movie that he was in, or the second movie? Oh, he didn't want to do the first movie. They talked him into it. He said
Star Trek movie.
Yeah, the only way I'll do the second movie is if Spock dies.
Which he
So
does.
he actually insisted that he die, but there was so much outcry and outpouring of support for dead Spock that he said, the only way I'll do another movie and have him come back is if I can direct it. So then he directed the next two.
The Search for Spock.
Yeah, he directed his own
know
rebirth.
His resurrection.
His resurrection. Yeah, and was that the one with the Genesis project?
Yeah.
When they,
Well, that was actually in 2, but then it sounds like it's hard to believe they didn't have that planned already in the third movie because it was so built up in the second movie, but who knows?
Didn't he have a cameo in a recent?
Yeah, the new Star Trek.
Yeah, the new. Did you see them?
Yes.
But they were Shatnerless.
Shatnerless.
Shatnerless. That's
Shatner.
tough to say.
Isn't shat past tense for something?
It was when I was in college.
Okay, so Shatnered.
Does that count as a Christian swear word?
I think it might.
I want to know the
Isn't it in
definition.
Bible? Isn't shat in some translations? Like, isn't in the King James?
I cannot believe we're going here
Because
right
like
now.
pisseth,
Yeah.
he who pisseth
Against the wall, yeah.
which says that all men are supposed to pee standing up.
That's
Back
what I
to
took
the
away.
Germans and the Frusenglaja. What was the word for peeing standing
I
up?
don't remember.
Were you here for that?
Oh,
No, there was a story from Germany about.
Yeah, there was a great story.
oh
from Germany.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So anyway, Vulcans are Orthodox Jews. We've learned something new.
Okay, one last thing.
Today.
I wonder how the Orthodox Jews feel about that. Because now when the priests do that, I mean,
Yeah,
everyone
I
just
know.
probably snickers or.
Yeah.
I've never seen that, but then again, I don't think I've been to a.
It's like if
Orthodox
one of the
Jewish
Teletubbies starts doing your sacred symbol.
Yeah.
And then it catches on
Talk
with
about
children
hijacking
everywhere.
something.
Who's the
Yeah.
worst possible children's character to do like
To
the
do
sign
your,
of the
your
cross?
sacred symbol.
Yeah.
It'd be SpongeBob or
Barney,
He would
maybe?
laugh
Barney?
Like, oh, Barney. Yeah,
Barney
that
would be
would
pretty bad.
But his arms are so short he couldn't do it.
Barney.
He's like attached at the
Couldn't even
elbow.
cross himself, yeah.
Oh, he's a T-Rex.
Right.
What do you expect?
He's not a
Is he?
T-Rex.
He's not a T-Rex, is
He's
he?
just a
What is he?
dinosaur.
He's the
You can't be
man.
just a. That's like saying he's just an animal.
No, he's a
What kind of
dinosaur.
animal?
A
He's just a
dinosaur.
bug.
You
He's
could
not
say
a
he's
fly or
You
a-
could say he's just a bear, but not what kind of bear.
Yeah, but dinosaur is more specific than that. Like dinosaur is more general than bear. Dinosaur is like mammal, almost, except that they're
No.
reptiles.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like that.
Exactly. Keep talking yourself into a corner, my friend.
Dinosaur, but he stood upright
Yeah.
on his hind legs.
Right.
Yeah.
He had shortish front arms. He had a tail.
And he eats people?
He had a big
Oh,
head
no.
and pointy teeth,
Yeah.
and he ate children. So he's a carnivore. He's a meteor.
He could have been a raptor.
He was not a brachiosaurus. We know that. He's not a brontosaurus.
Yeah, but there
he's
were
not a raptor.
The
He didn't
T-Rex
have
wasn't the only
didn't
dinosaur to.
big toe claws. He didn't have big toe claws or Santa Claus.
Whatever. I don't think he's.
Now
I don't
you
think there's
painted
any
yourself
official
into a-
I'm
documentation
on a mission to find out what
that
kind of
says
dinosaur.
he's a T-Rex.
He's a T-Rex.
He's just a dinosaur.
There's no such thing. Okay, then what's Baby Bop? What's Baby Bop?
Just an annoyance.
No, because he's got head. He's got.
He's
head,
a
head
triceratops.
frills. He's a triceratops.
Fine.
Triceratops, yeah.
Okay, so they're being specific.
But I don't
Well,
think there's any official documentation.
At
that says
least
he's
we
a
know why he
T-Rex.
went extinct.
Why?
Because he's annoying.
Wow.
That's just me. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Projecting
That
a little
really
bit.
hurt.
Drew has
Yeah.
a cold.
You
If you
know,
can't tell, he's
there
a
are a lot of-
little
Yeah,
grumpy.
Yeah.
A lot of
I got
people
a
that
head
feel
cold from
very
Hades.
strongly about Barney the dinosaur.
I
He
know,
was-
and
he
I've
was
just
a
alienated that
central
whole
figure in their
listenership.
childhood. Anybody go see any movies over the weekend? Because you guys missed all of the Oscar Best Picture nominees.
Yeah.
Did you make it up?
And we
Not yet.
did
Did you-
not rush
It
out
was
to
my
see them.
anniversary this weekend.
Oh, well, that's certainly not a time when anyone goes to see a movie.
We did not go see a movie.
So you had babysitting, you had a weekend, you just had the Oscars to point out all the best film cinematic accomplishments of the year.
Yeah.
And what, you go?
We went to
you
a
went
nice
bowling?
meal.
You
We
go
went out for a
bowling?
nice dinner. We went and bought something for each other for a wedding gift. I mean, an anniversary gift.
Yeah,
And, we just enjoyed our day.
yeah.
How many years?
16.
That's exciting.
You might make it.
I saw a movie over the weekend.
What'd
What'd you see?
And it was actually, I was disturbed by it. My wife and I were both disturbed by it. And we didn't think it would be, it doesn't look like it will be a movie that would disturb me. But
Was it an
disturbed
Olsen
me.
twins movie? What was it?
It was not an Olsen Twins movie. Those are not. It was in the theater, so it's a current film. It's one that's out right now. So of all the movies that are out right now,
okay, let me think.
what do you think I
That you
would
don't
see?
think would be disturbing.
Yeah, that you don't think would be disturbing, but it was disturbing.
Oh, I don't even know what's out right now. Drew?
Gone Girl?
No, that's
no,
disturbing.
yeah,
That's not
yeah.
out right now.
Hold on.
And that's supposed to be disturbing.
Yeah.
Let's go for another guess. What came out recently? Is it?
This isn't going well.
No, it's not. What is it? Just get to it.
Kingsman.
Kingsman.
Kingsman. Yeah, Kingsman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kingsman, the
What's this
Secret
one? I don't know.
Service. Kingsman, the Secret Service. Now, how does that look from the marketing? It looks kind of mainstream.
Like an action adventure.
Action adventure. It's Colin Firth. It's got Colin Firth stars in it with a kid who's a protege. They're secret agents of this secret agent society.
They're like British secret agents, but
They're
not
British,
James Bond.
They're gentlemanly secret agents.
Oh, yeah.
They're gentlemanly secret agents. They all wear suits and they carry umbrellas that have weapons built into them.
Of
Yeah,
course.
they're like the really bad.
It's even
Mary
more,
Poppins
yeah,
kind of thing.
like
Yeah.
like cross between Mary Poppins and James Bond.
There you go.
Is what it appears to be, and it's special effects, action. Okay,
and
Sure,
your wife
already.
goes with you to these movies.
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, Amanda won't do that.
Yeah, really? No action.
No,
movies?
she would not sometimes. It depends, but not something like she would never go to that.
Superhero movies?
Maybe.
She'll do superhero
Maybe
movies.
some of 'em.
James Bond? No James
No,
Bond.
no. I wouldn't take her to James
But this
Bond.
looks more comical. This is like James Bond has become very serious in
Right.
the current
A little gritty.
iteration.
Yeah.
It's gritty. Yeah, it's serious and it's gritty, and they
Right.
try to do real special effects, like real action instead of just CGI, stuff. This is not that. This
Right.
seemed more like a throwback to playful.
And what's it rated?
It's rated R.
So I can judge you.
It's rated R. It's rated. It's rated R. But there were a couple of things that that disturbed me. Number one, it's just people just get killed like crazy. It's like a massive body count.
It's like a video game.
Yeah, and then in the middle of that, there's some sexual jokes that just seem like way out of line, like not fitting with the tone. In fact, the whole thing ends on a sex joke that just like
Well, there's a lot of innuendo in James Bond. Are they
Yeah,
pulling
there
it from that
is.
kind of genre?
kind of, except it's what struck me is this what mainstreamy, actiony kind of movies are like for a generation that's grown up on video games and porn? Because the sex jokes weren't just, like, let's get it on.
It's not like wink, wink.
No,
kind
they
of
were more devious. They were more like
graphic.
Yeah, they were. It was like, whoa, that's what?
Yeah. Well, it's the coarsening of the culture of
It was
many people.
coarse in a way that really caught you off guard, especially from the lead characters. The heroes take pride in being gentlemen.
So it's a redefinition of gentlemanness.
And so and they're bringing up a kid, like a street kid from London who grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. I mean, that's kind of the premise, is that he would never have a chance to become one of the
Right.
Kingsmen because he's from the wrong side of the tracks.
Does he have like a Cockney accent?
Yeah, he does.
And
And
he
the-
can't
and the
say
other
that the
guys-
rain only falls in the plain in Spain.
He meets the other candidates to become the newest Kingsman, and one of the other male candidates immediately says, "Are you Oxford or Cambridge?"
So it's like Harry Potter. He's like a
Yeah.
muggle blood.
Yeah, he's right. So he finally succeeds in becoming this Kingsman, and learning to carry yourself right, and and it's this transformation that they describe as kind of like My Fair Lady. You learn how to walk, you learn how to talk, you learn how to fight.
I just made that reference earlier.
Did you? Good job. They make it in the movie, actually. Actually, the guy who's making the transformation makes that. So this is like My Fair Lady. It makes that kind of reference. And then at the end he has to free one of the kidnappees because the bad guy is Samuel L. Jackson.
Of course he is.
But he plays.
He's the one black guy in the movie, right? Yeah.
He is the only black guy in the movie. Yeah, and he's the bad guy.
Does he have an eye patch too?
No, but he has a lisp.
No.
He plays the whole thing with a lisp.
Like
Yes.
Daffy Duck.
Yes.
That bad? As you're doing it?
Yes. But he's playing a tech billionaire. A tech billionaire who's trying to solve the overpopulation problem through a rather devious...
Thinning the herd.
Yes.
There's an overpopulation problem?
Thin the
Thin
herd.
the herd, so to speak. Yeah, and so they have to stop him. He's killing and he's come up with a plan to make people ultra violent, so they'll actually thin themselves. So the whole world will turn on itself.
Whoa, wait! What does that mean? People are ultra violent.
He's going to make the population go nuts and attack each other and kill each other. And he's doing that by giving out free SIM cards with free internet access, and the SIM card will make you go crazy. Anyway, that's kind of the dastardly plan, and the Kingsmen
sounds like a bad guy.
Yeah, and so he's kidnapped some of the leading. He basically invites world leaders in, and he give them his pitch on how we're going to save the world, cut global warming and everything. It's about global warming and all sorts of save the planet. With a lift like Daffy Duck, except that Samuel L. Jackson, like Pulp Fiction. It's the most bizarre thing.
Okay.
And so he invites all these world leaders in and asks them to join his plan.
Mm-hmm. Does he really care about the environment, or is he just kind of using that?
He does.
Okay.
He said he does.
Well, this is kind of interesting for Hollywood to have the global warming guy be the villain.
I know, it is kind of interesting.
Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
There you go.
I guess so. So if you're a world leader and you come to his mansion, which they never say where it is, we assume it's Silicon Valley. You come to his mansion to hear the pitch and you reject it. He then kidnaps you. You disappear, and you're in a dungeon. Like underneath his.
Why does he need the world leaders to do it? Why doesn't he just do it on his own?
I don't know why he needs the world leaders. He just does. A lot of it doesn't make any sense. So the Swedish princess, the daughter of the prince of the Swedish monarch, doesn't go along with it and is captured and put down there. And so the main guy who's become a gentleman, basically she says, if you let me out of here, here's what I'll let you do to me. And it's like at the end of the movie, and you're just like, wait, what? He's just become a gentleman. And so he goes and saves the world and then comes back with 2 champagne glasses to her cell.
So this is Pulp Fiction meets James Bond meets 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was disturbing in an unexpected way. It was disturbing because it wasn't supposed to be a movie that would be disturbing. Now, if it was Quentin Tarantino doing the violence, another thing, he wants to test this. He wants to test the make everyone go crazy signal that he's given in their SIM cards. So he targets a church in Kentucky, in Alabama or Kentucky, that is on the list of hate groups.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's Westboro Baptist Church, except it's 10 times bigger. It's there's probably 300 people there, and so you go there during a Sunday morning service, and the really ugly white male pastor is railing against homosexuals and blacks and Jews and everything.
An English gentleman.
And Colin Firth is sitting in the back row to see what's going on, and then he pushes the signal, and everyone starts killing each other. And Colin Firth goes nuts because somehow it affects him too, even though he doesn't have the SIM card. And he kills every person in the church, women, men, everyone, including shooting people point blank in the face. And it's just like
that's a little disturbing.
And Lisa sat through this.
Yeah, she did. She didn't like it. She didn't like it. So
Does she like you?
It was
now?
like Kill Bill. It was like kind of that level.
Who directed this movie?
Violence. I think a young person. I'm going to guess.
I'm thinking it was a 13-year-old boy. Was there a lot of nudity involved, too?
No, there wasn't until the very end. And it was one of the last images.
The Swedish princess?
Go, wow. Wait a minute.
So maybe it was like really clever commentary on our society, an indictment of sorts. No, I don't know.
Has it done well? Is the movie doing well?
Yeah, and what's weirder is it's getting good ratings. It's like almost 80% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
And they're never wrong.
Well, it's a collection of
everything.
Right. It's an aggregate, so it tells you what the society thinks.
We both walked out like really concerned about, I hate to say this, the future of Western civilization.
You are becoming an old fart.
My wife said we are turning into our grandparents.
Yeah.
It's like,
those kids.
What's wrong with the kids these days?
I'm 10 years younger than you, and
but you
I'm probably already there.
Okay, you have to wonder because the kids that have now grown up with easy access to pornography
and overload of violent images
and overload of violent video games are now starting to write and direct movies and books.
Yeah. That's scary.
And what is that going to look like?
Well, you get desensitized, and so you need more graphic everything in order to feel anything. That's like one thing I've noticed over the last maybe 20 years is as I go to different Christian conferences or gatherings, the music is just
Are they
getting
becoming more sexual?
No, everyone's killing each other all the time. No, it's just it gets louder and louder and louder and louder. And
Or maybe
I'm
you're
thinking,
just getting older.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Am I just getting older? But it now is the point where forget any sense of being able to hear the congregation sing.
Yeah.
In most
No, that's
places.
not what it's about, Sky.
And my internal organs are being realigned by the bass thumping through. And
In a good way?
well, no, I don't enjoy that. But it makes me wonder if we've lost the ability to really sense or feel things, so that we need this greater amount of external
Crank up the volume.
stimulation in order to feel anything anymore.
Yeah.
And maybe the same thing goes with images and
Right. So, have you seen 50 Shades of Grey yet?
I've seen it about 4 times now.
Is that a metaphor? Something.
No, I have not seen it.
No.
I have not read it.
The good news about 50 Shades of Grey is that it stinks.
That's the good news.
Yeah.
Well, it's not getting good ratings.
That's putting it
But
mildly.
does somebody go to that kind of a movie because it gets good reviews?
Yeah, that's true.
Why does I think you go to that simply because you like the book?
'Cause you read the book.
right?
I
You
heard
read
the
the
book
book,
is
yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
Like, as far as
Well, it's sold 100 million copies.
But as far as its
So-
literary quality,
Yeah.
right. It's not a
really
good.
bad
Yeah.
prose and
It,
a lot of
it seem-
cliches.
It
But
seems like the woman who wrote it found an angle that was intriguing to everyone, because
something worked.
in general in a post ubiquitous pornographic world, it's hard. You can't really shock anybody about anything. But what if you could take, like, let's go off in a new direction. Let's go off in a clean. So let's do S&M. Let's do submission, and then paint that in a world where that's like the ultimate positive thing that you could try out next. And everyone says, "Oh, well, let me check this out."
I heard that the reason that book is sort of a breakthrough was because of e-readers.
Yeah.
That
Because you're not holding the copy.
yeah, because nobody knows what you're reading when you're reading on an iPad or an e-reader, and so the book just spread, particularly among suburban women,
Yeah.
who could be reading it and no
Right,
one knew
and
they
no
were
one
reading
knows.
it. So it became like the equivalent of female pornography, where
Right.
men don't have to go into a store anymore and purchase a pornographic magazine. They can get it online. Well, now women don't have to be seen reading because they're more interested in
Right.
romance novels and that kind of
Right.
stuff. They don't have to be seen reading that smut. But now that it's on e-reader, it just took off.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
There was an interesting story on the Huffington Post, a female journalist writing about 50 Shades of Grey. First of all, most of the people who've written about it have said this is not a good thing. It's getting a lot of negative press because of the themes of abuse.
Right.
And it's like, well, this is not
It's
healthy.
not good for women.
No one should let their daughters read these books or watch this movie. That's kind of, even the mainstream press is responding that way. But this is a woman who had an interesting response to it. Did I highlight? Oh, where's my highlights? I had highlights in here. And she's disturbed about it because she says, for women in or familiar with situations of domestic violence, the control and ownership elements of this book and movie can jump off the page or the screen. Whatever the reason for the character Christian Grey being that way, they do not justify him controlling another person. But then she goes on to say, and this is where it gets interesting, on a frighteningly related note, as the Rachel Maddow show playfully highlighted for us, the movie seems to be most popular in the Bible Belt. Many people have suggested that the correlation is due to the, quote, most repressed, most obsessed element.
That sounds like a pretty good bumper sticker.
Most repressed, most obsessed. Yeah. But this woman believes the connection is perhaps also due to what people have been told to believe about God. If you tell people to love and even worship a God who even in the Ten Commandments claims to be a jealous God, then it perhaps makes it easier to read right past the jealousy bit in Christian Grey's character.
Stretch.
Wait, so let me get this straight.
Stretch.
Let me get this straight. 50 Shades of Grey is popular in the Bible Belt because the lead character of Christian Grey reminds people
Of God.
Of God.
Jealous and obsessive.
I can't believe we haven't done a sermon series yet.
To put it a
Based on
different
the
way,
40 days of 50 Shades or something.
she says one domestic violence survivor has noted that Psalm 139 does not sound so lovely when read through her experiences. The control aspect of her abuser meant that he knew every step, every single thing she did all day.
Well, that's like saying listening to Sting is bad through my lens because every breath I take, every move I make, he's watching me.
Yeah,
well,
if you had a stalker, that does sound pretty bad, right?
That doesn't mean the text is inherently evil.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a little silly.
I do not think I can overstate this aspect about the Bible and why it matters still today. What is most offensive to me from the book, 50 Shades of Grey, not the Bible, is the element of control and ownership that Christian Grey wishes to have over Steele, whatever her name is. See, I don't know anything about this book.
Yeah, keep saying that, Phil.
These are elements of the precise mentality that men are taught to have towards women if they take the Bible seriously.
50 Shades of Grey could have been like your fashion manual. That's all you wear is gray.
Thank you. Biblically speaking, women are property of men.
What? That is not true.
Does it ever say anywhere?
No.
Because they're told to be submissive to their husbands.
How do you know someone has
submissive to their husbands?
Right.
Yeah.
Ephesians.
That's in there.
So you know someone has an axe to grind when they write an article about 50 Shades of Grey and somehow
talking about the Bible.
Indict the Bible
Right.
for.
That is
But I found a better connection. The guy's name is Christian. That's the link right there.
There you go.
Oh my! How did I not see that? Wow.
Yeah. She also claims that 1 Peter chapter 3 verses 1 through 6 tells women they need to stay in abusive relationships, which caused me to look it up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I'm sorry, I don't have that one memorized, but
I didn't quite.
That's about Abraham and Sarah.
It's
submit to your right.
Yeah.
No,
who refer to Abraham as her Lord and
hang on.
right.
Hang on.
Called him master.
No, I
No?
don't think that's it. I'm looking it up. Oh, here's a story about Leonard Nimoy. Did you know he died? He was
disappointed. You're a pastor, Sky. I thought
What?
you'd have that memorized.
Yeah.
I thought you had the whole Bible memorized.
1 Peter 3.
Okay, 1 Peter 3, 1 through 6. Likewise, wives, be subject to your own husbands, so that even if some do not obey the word, they must be won without a word by the conduct of their wives.
Keep reading.
When they see your respectful and pure conduct, do not let your adorning be external, the braiding of hair and the putting on of gold jewelry or the clothing you wear, but let your adorning be the hidden person of the heart with the imperishable beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which in God's sight is very precious. For this is how the holy women who hoped in God used to adorn themselves by submitting to their own husbands, as Sarah
Bingo!
obeyed Abraham,
Thank you.
calling him Lord. And you are her children if you do good and do not fear anything that is frightening. Jump, jump, jump. Fear, and that means stay in an abusive relationship.
Obviously.
According to some woman on Huffington Post.
I know, and here's
with no biblical credibility
the
whatsoever.
Problem. The problem is that whoever's reading that story on Huffington Post doesn't know any better.
Right.
You know, they have no.
Right.
They don't know that they're not going to actually go and read 1 Peter 3 and try to look for that.
It is on the internet, though.
Well, this is why people
1
need to
Peter
be
3.
very careful when they start playing outside their yard.
Yeah,
and
like we do when we talk about movies we've never even seen.
Well,
the three of us need to go see 50 Shades of Grey this afternoon.
I read the whole Wikipedia entry about 50 Shades of Grey.
Did you?
Yes,
Really?
I did.
Okay.
I think what the equivalence would be is if we started taking some random verse out of the Quran out of context and building whole arguments around it when we haven't studied it to the degree that an Islamic scholar may have. Similarly, she's taking a little section out of the Bible that could be used to justify all kinds of things and not see the broader context or scope of what the Bible actually affirms about women.
Doesn't even mention abuse.
I could pull 30 or 40 passages of Scripture that speak to the dignity of women that would have been incredibly progressive for its time and place and culture.
Right.
And so you just construct your argument.
So is this an example of biblical illiteracy at work on both sides of the reader-writer relationship?
What do you mean on both sides?
Well, she's speaking from a level of biblical illiteracy to twist a verse or say, oh, someone told me that this passage means this. And then the reader doesn't know any better.
Yeah. So, most Huffington Post readers probably not big Bible buffs.
Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were not big Bible buffs. Huffington Post. Have you? You wrote for that Huffington Post?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have an open invitation to write for them whenever I want, but it's not frequently used.
And Newsweek is also going after the Bible.
It sells, you know.
Yeah, but this is what's interesting, because there was a lot of controversy. I've been meaning to bring up this story for a while, but it fits in thematically with that Huffington Post story about 50 Shades of Grey. And hang on, let me pull it up. They did a cover story, Newsweek did a cover story called "The Bible, So Misunderstood It's a Sin." This came out at the end of last year.
A little behind here, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And it starts out by saying, they wave their Bibles at passers-by, screaming their condemnations of homosexuals. They fall on their knees, worshiping at the base of granite monuments to the Ten Commandments while demanding prayer in school. They appeal to God to save America from their political opponents, mostly Democrats. They gather in football stadiums by the thousands to pray for the country's salvation.
It's like they've been spying on me.
They just read your Facebook page. They are God's frauds. Cafeteria Christians who pick and choose which Bible verses they heed with less care than they exercise in selecting side orders for lunch. They are joined by religious rationalizers, fundamentalists who, unable to find scripture supporting their biases and beliefs, twist phrases and modify translations to prove they are honoring the Bible's words. It's kind of an aggressive start to a Newsweek.
You can tell he's not.
It's a good hook. It's a good hook.
He's not writing a balanced perspective here.
and then, because what it's really about is some scholarly recent understanding on, how many changes have happened in the text over the years. What do we know that we didn't know 100 years ago? And so let's talk to the experts. Do you know what expert they talk to? The first expert they interview. Guess.
Bart Ehrman?
Yes!
Are you serious? I haven't even read it. Honestly, I haven't even read it.
Yes, there
Amazing.
are more variations among our manuscripts than
course.
there are words in the New Testament, says Dr. Bart D. Ehrman, a groundbreaking biblical scholar and professor at the University of North Carolina who has written many books on the New Testament.
This is the guy who went to Moody Bible Institute.
Yes.
He was raised fairly fundamentalist. He went to Moody Bible Institute. Was shocked by just having his eyes opened by the Moody Bible scholars that things weren't as cut and dried as he's experienced.
The Bible
in
didn't
his
just
childhood.
drop from heaven.
Then he went to Wheaton College, was shocked even more.
This is a slippery slope.
And then went to Princeton Theological Seminary, and then kind of rejected everything, and now teaches. He's basically agnostic.
I've heard him on Justin Brierly's show.
Yes, he's been on Justin Brierly's show. So, and he has popularized because Peter Boghossian, my atheist friend, sent me a text, an email one day saying, so what do you think about Bart Ehrman? Because Richard Dawkins is praising Bart Ehrman. A lot of the new atheists are saying, here's a guy, now he's a real Bible scholar, and he recognizes the Bible is completely wrong.
Yeah.
The fact that Newsweek picks him as the scholar they're going to interview.
It's so objective, yeah.
And then they go after the King James translation. Say, look at all these errors and things.
Right.
But first they qualify it.
That's what scholars use.
In this article, they say the King James translation is the gold standard of biblical translations.
What? It's a 500-year-old translation.
The gold standard of English Bibles is the King James version, completed in 1611. And then they go on to say everything is
400
wrong
years old. Sorry.
with the King James version.
That's ridiculous. I can't even think of a seminary or even a Christian college that would use the King James version as their standard.
They're offended by the pisseth.
Okay, but here's what's interesting about this, and it's like a little bit like the 50 Shades of Grey thing, is that it's assuming a lot of ignorance. Well, on both sides. The guy who wrote the story, because Russell Moore at the Southern Baptist, went nuts. We just went ballistic on this and said it was a hatchet job, a hit piece on the Bible. What's interesting is that Newsweek, used to every Easter, every Christmas, they would do a cover story about Jesus, the Bible, the church, something, and they were all very respectful. And this was the Christmas thing. This was basically the Christmas thing. So what's changed? Do you know what's changed? Newsweek no longer sells on newsstands.
That's right. They're only digital.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no print
That's
edition anymore.
So they're not appealing to the supermarket checkout line or the.
It's not about
That's interesting.
middle-aged women going through the checkout line saying, "Oh, I love the Bible. I'm going to pick up what National Geographic said about it," and where they don't want to offend them because they want them to buy it. So Newsweek is now online only, and online it's about being outrageous.
Yeah, going viral, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
you don't get clicks by telling 55-year-old women that they're what they believe is right.
What
Sure.
you're pointing to, Phil, is a truth that I don't know how many of our listeners are fully aware of, or at least something. Are you getting a phone call on the
No,
podcast?
I'm just getting lots of texts and I'm ignoring them.
Anyway, what a lot of people may not realize, and this applies to all media, not just Newsweek or Huffington Post, but so many of the editorial decisions that are made in cable news, on newspapers and magazines, websites, it's all about getting traffic, or it's about generating revenue. And that's true even among Christian publishers. A lot of what gets published is what they know there's an audience for, not necessarily what they know to be the most faithful or true. So you have to be skeptical whenever you see any of this stuff and ask the deeper questions of what's the business decision that's behind the publication of whatever it is you're looking at.
Right. Think about the headlines that you see online, that are just designed. And when you realize the headline wasn't written by the person who wrote the article, it
Sure.
may have little or nothing to do with the article. The headline is designed to catch your eye.
Right.
And
This
get you
one
to
weird
click.
trick a single mom came up with to remove stains from your.
Well, and I'm on a couple of ministry email lists, and one of them is just profoundly good at making every story a clickable headline.
Right.
And
clickbait.
the way you do
Clickbait,
it, is 3 secrets to keeping kids in your ministry.
You actually learn.
I gotta know the secrets.
Drew and I have probably both been in seminars for editors that talk about how to title online pieces. And one of the big things they'll tell you is put a number in it.
Yep.
It needs to be 7 this or 10 that or 3 this, and then there has to be some kind of fear component to it. So 3 ways to
gonna
keep
get
kids in your
secret
ministry.
information.
Right. That's a lot of it.
And what happens at the 3-minute mark will make you cry kittens, or something like that. I guess you can't cry kittens.
Have you ever cried kittens?
Well, I never make it to the 3-minute mark.
Is that a Canadian colloquialism?
I think he may have Shatnered a couple kittens.
Oh man, I was with we love getting secret information.
Right.
Someone has secret
yes,
information.
yes.
And Lisa and I, we watched Transcendence, the Johnny Depp science movie.
I watched that too.
Yeah, it was not very good.
Not great.
But it's got and also Lucy. We watched Lucy, the one with Scarlett Johansson opening up all her brain. And it's because that's what we're all interested in Scarlett Johansson is her brain.
Yeah.
And it has Morgan Freeman in it. In fact, I think both of them had Morgan Freeman in it.
Does he play God?
And I realized he's playing the same role that we love to see Morgan Freeman is. That Morgan
sage.
Freeman has secret information
Right.
that we can only get from Morgan Freeman.
If that guy started a religion,
Yeah, everyone would.
Instantly.
That was his role
Millions
in
of
the Lego
followers.
movie. It was his role in the Batman films.
March of the Penguins. Same thing.
That's not the first thing that popped in my mind, but I guess that's true. So there's nothing we enjoy more than getting secret information from Morgan Freeman. So if you could turn that into
there's the title of my next book.
clickable headlines,
You know what we need?
3 secrets for a good marriage from Morgan
Morgan
Freeman.
Oh, man.
You know what? I think we have another T-shirt coming. I think Morgan Freeman has to be factored in. I need Morgan Freeman to
Could get
do,
sued.
to
I don't know,
do
though.
the audio plugs for my devotional.
Oh,
that would be
yes.
Right.
That would be good. What is his religious
Subscribe to.
persuasion?
Yeah,
Do we
I don't know.
I haven't studied that.
He probably that's
think he-
secret information he's not yet revealed.
My hunch is he may worship himself.
How could you not? After every role he's played,
Yeah.
he's
Man,
anyway.
that voice.
Okay. So how do we tie that together? 50 Shades of Grey, Morgan Freeman, secret information, reading the Bible wrong,
Leonard Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy,
and,
Wow.
and the Gentleman
and the
Association, whatever that
the
movie's called.
Association of Highly Offensive Gentlemen. They even say before he beats somebody up a couple times, he quotes. He has a quote, and this is
Who's this?
Okay,
Colin
Firth. Look at the cast: Colin Firth, Michael Caine, I forget the guy who plays the classic British.
Michael Caine's in there?
Yes, Michael Caine. He's the head of the Kingsmen.
Oh.
He's the head of the
But
Kingsmen.
doesn't he have a Cockney accent?
He
But he
goes.
sheds it
he
for
can do
this
whatever
song.
he wants.
Yeah, you're
He
right.
can do whatever he wants. The guy he's the villain in the Sherlock Holmes movies, the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock
Right.
Holmes movies,
Yeah.
and then he plays the
yes,
classic
yes.
British villain in the Jaguar commercials.
Right, because that's what he is.
We love to drive Jaguars, we villains.
Right.
And we're British. Yeah, he's in it. He actually plays a good guy, which is
So there's some high caliber British actors in this.
and then Samuel L. Jackson going, "Hey guys, but you think the world is gonna end?" What the? What? It's missing Morgan Freeman.
So what's the quote?
He'll
You
be
said
in the
there's a
sequel.
quote.
The quote
The
was,
yeah.
"Manners maketh man."
Oh.
So it's all about. So these thugs have no manners. We need to teach them some manners because manners maketh man, and everything is very formal and
Right.
proper. And then all of a sudden, they're shooting women in the face, and
Yeah, but he was under the control of a SIM card.
well, even when they're fighting thugs, they kill every
Or
thug.
thugs.
Yeah.
Thuggas.
Yeah.
Or as Samuel L. Jackson would say, thugs. When you're fighting thugs, you kill every one of them.
Right.
It's not just I shot you in the kneecap.
That's not
So
teaching
you
them
would go down.
manners. That's removing them from existence.
That's
So maybe that's the thing, though. As long as on the outside you have a certain etiquette and propriety, you can be a monster underneath.
Do you
it's
think?
okay.
Yeah. Do you think they're just a metaphor for imperialism? Like British
Kingsmen?
imperialism, like they have this
Yeah.
manner on the outside, but really underneath they're tyrant and
you
exploitive.
think
And
it's that self.
I don't know. I have
Did you watch Downton Abbey last night?
no.
It made me cry.
We
Downton Abbey made
missed.
me cry.
I missed last week, so we got to catch up now.
Oh,
Downton
man.
Abbey is season
Guys,
finale.
both of you hand over your men cards right
2
now.
hours. Season finale, 2 hours. It made me cry.
Hey, real men watch Downton Abbey.
With their wives, I guess so.
And it made me cry like 3 different times.
Really? Was it good cry?
Yeah. Not like, oh, we killed the main character. No, I don't cry
okay.
for that. I get mad.
Yeah.
It's like you did that on purpose. That wasn't an accident. That wasn't a car accident. That was
I
a
heard-
screenplay choice.
I heard he wanted to get off the
Yeah,
show.
he wanted to get off the show. That I got over that. That was
Yeah.
years ago.
Right.
If they do that again, though, I actually said that if they do that again, I'm out.
You know what?
I'm out.
As far as I'm concerned, they can kill pretty much any character on that show, except Carson. Carson is my guy.
Yeah,
I like that guy.
I still like Bates. I
Bates?
watched the first 4
Bates?
episodes. That's all. Yeah, I like Bates.
Yeah, but you didn't watch enough.
I heard he took a dark turn. Don't
He's
spoil it for me.
Are you gonna watch more?
Probably.
I don't want to be alone
It's
in a
worth
room
it.
with Bates.
No.
No. He's a little creepy to me.
How about Barrow? You want to be alone in a room with Barrow?
Thomas? Who's
The-
Barrow?
No, the conniving.
Yeah, Thomas.
Butler. Yes.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh
Maybe
yeah, he's bad news.
He's conniving,
Yeah.
but there's something good inside. There's something
Deep,
good inside.
deep inside.
You know, any one of them could have been in that movie.
There's something good inside
All right.
that I think Morgan Freeman could bring out. Okay. What am I singing?
I have no idea. Good luck with that. But do it
Time
as
all in.
Samuel L. Jackson with the lisp.
No, do it as Morgan Freeman.
Do it as Spock as Samuel L. Jackson doing Morgan Freeman.
Oh, what do you know? Spock's dead, and Colin Firth is shooting women in the head. I think I'd like to go back to bed and wake up in another day. Oh, and they're making a church in the South seem like weirdos that need to be shot in the mouth, and I don't think I like the way they're portraying the Bible today. I think Morgan Freeman had his say, and he could make them all go away. Let's remember what it means to be a gentleman and read the Bible correctly. Okay. See you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.